The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are that of the hosts and guests respectively and do not represent the views or standpoints of any associated companies or organisations. This podcast is to create awareness of different health topics and not intended to replace professional medical advice.
We are not medical experts of any of the topics discussed in the health room and advise you seek professional advice from your healthcare providers. Hi, I'm Fiona.
Hi, I'm Lamide.
And
welcome to the health room. Yay! How are you?
I'm good. How you been?
I'm alive.
This has probably been one of the most stressful weeks of my life.
Yeah, I'm just over it.
I know, but God is there.
Yeah, we're gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna
be fine.
Yeah.
And there's so many things to look forward to.
Yes.
How are you mentally, actually? That's a good question.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I was better when I was in Kenya. And you know when you get back home, it's like, oh, this is it.
It's true. You have that that realization of, I should be abroad.
I want to live abroad.
I want to live abroad.
That's how I felt, but it's fine. But I feel like I feel settled now. It's like week 2, so I feel settled. But yeah, what about yourself?
That's good. I'm okay.
Yeah, you sure?
Had a bit of a mental breakdown this week, but it was fine.
A little bit meant to be. Yeah,
a little bit meant to be. But I'm okay. I feel like I was just a little bit overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah.
But it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
I think now I'm over the harshness of the week.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Back to being cheerful, happy Fiona.
Yes, roll on the weekend. So no. Okay, good.
Amazing.
Okay, lovely.
So this section of the podcast is called What's in the News, where Lamide and I will be speaking about health topics that have popped up in the news recently, and we'll just kind of delve a little bit into them.
Mine's actually around mental health. So it was on the BBC, and apparently, well, this is the case, there are no mental health guidance for firefighters.
Oh.
I mean, you think about it, firefighters, they risk their lives pretty much every day, but there's no set guidance. They're more likely to get anxiety, depression, and PTSD. So the University of Central Lancashire have been commissioned to do some research into it. So they're doing a survey at the moment, which I think is quite interesting. And it made me think of my old nail tech. She used to be a firefighter and a nail tech at the same time. She was amazing. And I remember asking her, how did you get into this? She just fell into it, but she enjoys it. And I was like, I'm happy that you enjoy it, but just look after yourself because it's a risky job. Every time you're being called out, it's a risk. Mm-hmm. And she was like, she just gets used to it. And I was like, not something to get used to, but I am happy that there's research going into it. I think which is important. Data is important and guidance is important as well. There's guidance for a lot of other careers and firefighting shouldn't be left behind. So yeah, that's my What's in the News. We have 2 amazing guests in the studio. We are super excited. We actually have some change makers in the building.
Yep.
And we're very excited. So let me start off with Huda. Huda is a FGM Specialist Lead Midwife, co-founder of the Somali Nursing and Midwifery Network UK. You sit on the advisory board of the Vavengers charity. You were awarded an MBE last year, and you were shortlisted for the Parliamentary Nursing and Midwifery Award. And was it you got commended?
Highly commended.
Highly commended. Yeah. So, Changemaker, we'll get into that a bit later, but we're super excited to have you.
Thank you so
honestly,
much.
we're actually honoured to have you on. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our second guest, we have Sema Gornall in the studio. Sema Gornall is an award-winning social entrepreneur, a writer, an artist, and a human rights activist. She's also the founder of Power Suit Untold. And those are 2 amazing organizations. So Power Suit is focused on empowering businesses and individuals. And Untold is a platform where people can share their stories through creativity. And it can be, I love the website because it shows so many stories. And let me not ramble on, but those are the 2 amazing organizations on top of the many things that you do. And one of the things we're going to focus on is the Vavengers and the fact that you are the CEO of the Vavengers and you've been doing it for so many years. So once again, we've got some change makers. We're honoured to have you on and thank you both for seriously making time and being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting.
No, thank you. We're honoured. So would you guys like to just share a bit about yourselves before we dig deep into the topic? Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
So I'm Huda Mohamed, FGM Specialist Lead Midwife. My career, I think over 15 years, so almost 17 now, did nursing background and coming to this role, it become, health advocate, womenist activist, working with the community, who are settled in this country, who come from practicing community because of female genital mutilation and / circumcision. So FGM. So yeah, a lot of work around the community, trying to make the changes and working with stakeholders within the NHS England. Yeah, it's a lot of work to be done, and also have grassroots education back home as well. Yeah. So I'm honored to be and that person who can make the difference.
Of course.
But this is always a struggle as well to make that.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
For one person.
Yeah.
So hence, like working with the Vavengers as well.
Amazing.
Quite powerful women who also come from different background. And you can see the eager on them as well to make the difference.
Yeah.
So Sema's here with us and will tell us more as well about Vavengers as well. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, Sema?
Yeah, I do many things. I write, I lead a charity, I find organizations, and also, make British tech. So I'm probably mentally ill, I suppose.
Not mentally ill.
I think there is, when you know how to manage your mental health issues and trauma, you can actually
do anything,
get help and do anything.
Yeah.
The issues come from, when you suppress it and don't want to talk about it and don't do anything about it. So, yeah. But yeah, the Vavengers is a great organization, and I've been leading it for over 3.5 years now. I feel quite old.
No.
It was founded by a group of women and, artists, which is, power of women is really big.
Yeah.
Our co-founders, Huda Ali and Mabel Evans, Huda was a sexual health nurse at the time and a survivor activist, and Mabel was a college student. And they got together, and more women got together, and there's so many hundreds of women right now. It's actually, when you go to an event, if you were an oppressor, it would be quite intimidating for you to be in that room, because people would change your mind immediately.
Honestly.
And we have really powerful women, from midwives to teachers to prosecutors, creatives.
Wow.
It's a great mix, because we don't actually think ending FGM or any other form of violence should be only left on the survivors and the communities who are, affected by these issues. It's everybody's job. It's a matter of safeguarding, right?
Yeah.
So this is one of the reasons we welcome everyone, men and women, and, everybody else basically to come along and join our, activism. And there's a place for everyone. Yeah. Whatever your job you're doing, you could actually join the fight to end, gender-based violence.
Love that.
Oh, I love that. Oh, yeah.
No, I love it. And you're right about women being together. We can do just powerful when women together.
Yeah.
This was I'm like, everyone should be a girl's girl and just cheer on your sister and just get it together and get it done. So, no. Okay, love that. So this episode is focused a lot on FGM. We've said that a few times, but FGM stands for Female Genital Mutilation, also known as cutting or female circumcision. There's different terms depending on the country you're in, but that is the overall definition.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'll define it from my research, but I want you guys to have the floor and share how you define it as well.
Okay, so I start by female genital mutilation. It depends, so it's a very medical term. So in a community who practice, they may practice cutting, circumcision, and they may more comfortable with that term. But the global, term in medical is female genital mutilation. That's exactly what it is. So now globally, 230 million girls are affected by this, and it's very global. When I say global, it's in Russia, it's in Peru, it's in South America, Colombia. It's in here. It's in Africa. So Asia alone is 80 million. It's very underestimated. To be honest with you, when I came into health, I thought people look like me only practice cutting, but actually I realized over the years it doesn't have a color, doesn't have a base.
No.
And, it's something that happens because of traditional beliefs. Culture is something that, we celebrate, to celebrate, different food, whatever. But tradition is the beliefs and stuff like that. So FGM is a traditional. Some people will say because of religious requirement, because it's a belief, spiritual belief. Every country has a reason why they do it. Yeah. But the bottom line is it has no place in the world. It's inhumane, and it's not benefit for women.
Nope.
Yeah. So when cutting happens to women, that woman was a child. Some of them, to be honest with you, as a clinician, for example, my work, women will come to us at book an appointment, and that booking midwife will ask everyone, regardless their color, their race, And if the woman says, yes, I had something done in my genitalia, maybe I come from community practice. And that's the honest truth. Some women don't even know they had undergone FGM at the age of 27. So hidden. And we might only find out at labor when they're delivering.
Yeah.
But she said, no, I haven't had it. For us, we don't screen at the booking. We just ask the question. And that shows how it's really hidden in some communities. They don't even disclose as a growing up woman that you had undergone FGM. And you have other group of women who remember the trauma. They were held down. They were 7 years old. And every time they come to a clinician like myself or a GB, they relieve that child that she was 7 years old, powerless. And it's done through love, traditional, because that's what the mother believed, right? But because of this is why we want to change the narrative. It's not acceptable.
Yeah.
How do you change that? You empower a woman, you educate women, you connect the two together. The moment you educate women about her body and what's supposed to be normal or not, the mindset changes.
That's it.
And the grassroots education is so key for women, and also feeling women a whole. Even cutting, so, different parts of the cutting, understanding what is missing from her, how she can actually have function normally is so important. So there's so many ways that if FGM, both physically, emotionally, long-term, some women infertility, ongoing infections, hyperstimulated pain because of the nerve damage when they cut when they undergo FGM. We can never really understand how deep-rooted is FGM and also how deeply affects women unless you're in her shoes, also clinician ourselves and see them. Every woman has her own story to tell. Yeah. And every woman, her journey starts at one point. The point that she came to my consultation appointment, that will be her first journey. And she connects the two together. That's why I don't feel this. That's why I have pain. That's why I have hyperstimulate. That day, she was educated about that anatomy and physiology, how it's supposed to work. And that light turns on. And her nightmare starts at that moment. And you have the young woman that was cut at the age of 7. She was held down. That trauma stays with her. And what trauma does to us? She won't be able to function. She blocks her way. So all the things she goes through will be step by step. But unless you connect that together, it takes a long time to heal. Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. Honestly, it's really a lot. And it's so... living in England, for example, now we have laws and since 1985. But having said that, we have a mandatory training for healthcare professionals. But women who have survivors are still in health quality. They're not getting what they're supposed to get, the holistic care. You have to keep sign pointing them to different places, which is not acceptable.
I do think, men need to change their mind in order for this to end, because survivors, the mothers are quite powerless in this dynamic. And it's a matter of power dynamics, Men drive this. It's just like rape, it's mostly driven by men, the rape crime. And FGM crime, again, because it's crime and, it's human rights violation, it's violence against women and girls, you name it. And men drive it. Because there's still demand to this, and it keeps happening to, girl children, adult women, like Huda said. So what we try to do in, especially, policy spaces and in our community workshops is use the power of, language and also teach people about power dynamics. And this is not just to teach the, performing communities, but also you need to teach your prosecutors, your teachers, your government decision makers, international, developers. Everybody needs to have that access to knowledge, and there's a lot of unknown, I guess, facts, and a lot of assumptions. But I actually am quite shocked because when you think about it, the known numbers, it's like 5% of the world population that we know of is affected, subjected to this form of abuse. But we actually are so widely misinformed. What we think as an organization and movement, many of our partners, we actually think this could be something much bigger than 230 million if we were collecting the data properly, because there's, over 4 billion women and girls alive today. And when you look into gender-based violence mapping, for example, child marriage, right? The forced marriage against children and forced marriage against adult women, it affects 650 million women and girls that we know of. So there's so many countries where the data is not even collected. So we don't actually have systems to capture the data. Same with FGM. And FGM and forced marriage goes, almost hand in hand in a lot of the communities. when that happens to you, it's the beginning of lifetime of harm, I would say. You know, forced marriage happens to majority of our survivors. I've seen women with Huda, you know, in our community hubs, they've been surviving 3 to 6 forms of gender-based violence at the same time. That's within 25 to 35 years of life. You know, very young, and you've been through 5, 6 forms of abuse already: modern slavery, trafficking, I don't know, forced displacement, rape,
Yeah, exactly.
emotional abuse. So it's a lot to put on women and girls and expect this issue to end just by talking to them, because it's like talking at people saying, hey, don't do that, but we're not going to give you any support system for you to make sure that you can actually leave this behind, because it takes a whole other, you know, effort. Like in our support hubs, we've seen the number one issue that we need to resolve in order to end FGM was housing.
Housing. Okay.
Last year, interestingly, a lot of our survivors said, well, you need to move me out that house. I need to have a house. But, you know, we're already in council housing, some of them said. But, you know, I need to protect my children. To do that, I need to be away from him.
Yes.
And the forces who are driving, you know, rape and child marriage and, you know, FGM. So for that to happen, housing is a huge issue.
Yeah.
Another one I would say is the healthcare and legal disparities. Because, you know, I always talk about this. When something happens to a minoritized children, I mean, black women and girls are the most affected in this country from racism. I do think we have a racism and discrimination pyramid. And, you know, FGM affects global majority. So minoritized women mostly. It affects white women and girls too today. I want to emphasize and highlight that.
Yeah.
But it disproportionately affects minoritized women and girls. So when something affects minoritized women and girls, all of a sudden the conversation shifts to culture, you know, community dynamics. Should we go and consult the religious leaders? You know, should we go and consult this and that? To me, a community leader is someone who, you know, stands against harm.
Exactly.
And safeguards people and sets a good example by being a hardworking person, being a great role model. You know, even if it means even if you're not doing anything else but being a good citizen and good that makes you a good, you know, community leader, in my opinion. Not someone who can enable, you know, harm to people.
Exactly.
So I don't know how we define this community leadership.
I don't know.
That's very
no, exactly.
I do understand the use of the community leader in these kind of approaches just because of the authority bias that's attached to it. So with authority bias, it's a behavioral science bias. So essentially what that means is that you are more inclined to listen when somebody of an authoritative figure gives you information. So that would be, for example, the police, if you went to a doctor, if you know, something like that. So religious leaders fit into that. However, I do agree with what you're saying. If the religious leader doesn't provide positive messaging and still reinforces those negative connotations that are attached to, you know, these kind of
abuse,
events.
FGM, violence, then what's the point?
That becomes a problem.
And we're not saying, you know, there's so many religious leaders who openly stand against FGM and any form of gender-based violence. I just think, you know, this is a legal and healthcare matter.
Yeah.
And it's everyone's job to stand against this, not just this or that person or not the survivor. You know, so many people actually even go to the police. And when you go to the police, you know, it's often labeled a messy form of crime. You know, they don't know how to collect proper information, or we've seen, you know, information is being stained, doesn't go to CPS properly. And then when it goes there, you know, are they even trained about their types? This is why we've collaborated with each government department to actually educate people, because on average, if you go to policing academy or, you know, law school or even like teaching school, you don't actually get trained about gender-based violence, or even midwifery. You know, on average, the medical professionals get like 3 minutes of training.
Yeah, even pharmacists, we didn't get that in
This is really worrying.
We didn't get that.
It's getting there at the moment.
I think we need to train every profession on gender-based
100%.
violence, like exclusively and extensively. Because whatever job you're doing, you know, you're a podcaster here today, I'm sure you will have some safeguarding duties. You will take the tube going back home, or you will have guests. You know, there's a role for everyone.
Exactly.
And I think we're not seeing it from that lens. And I think this is purely, it could be racism, you know. Not could be, it is racism, because it affects disproportionately minoritized women and girls. But now what we are seeing is it also starts affecting white women and girls. So there's something called labioplasty. This is a matter of marketing.
Yes.
Right? So how do we package abuse and modernize it so that we can keep going?
People who live in England, it's supposed to be safeguarded children.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we should have a safe place for children
We
who live
should.
in the United Kingdom.
But who's the safety for, right?
And I think the key we're missing here is education.
Yes.
And it should start from the primary care.
Yeah.
It starts from
Everyone,
education, from
yeah.
school, from kindergarten.
Exactly.
You know,
as early
and
as
one of the
possible.
things I think will change, a game changer, simply have that conversation with that family, regardless their color, their race. Ask the question. You ask about
Everyone.
their diabetes,
Yes.
their ill health, whatever.
Exactly.
You screen families before they start the nursery. Yeah.
Yes.
And one of the questions they should ask: do you come from community practice? Simple question. Do you come from community to practice FGM? There's no harm to that. It's either yes or no.
Yeah.
Maybe she doesn't know. If she says yes, without being stigmatizing that family, you educate that family. That's your golden opportunity, because that child is just new, maybe 4.
Yeah. It's
3-year-old.
that age. Yeah.
That age.
Exactly.
So as soon as you start from that age, then you'll make the game changer. Chibi, they don't even ask the question. Simply ask the question.
True.
Do you come from
Every woman should
community?
be asked.
Every
So,
woman should
for
be
example,
asked.
if I was coming from abroad, I'm coming to this country first time with my children, I have daughters, that's my golden opportunity. Have you had FGM? If I say yes, then what about my daughters? Have they been cut?
Exactly.
Maybe I already done that. Yeah. So it's that chance that we're missing from community coming actually in the UK.
Yeah.
In the UK, children should be safeguarded. In the UK, it's illegal since 1985. Okay. In 2015, it's become mandatory to train everywhere, healthcare professionals. So when we're training healthcare professionals, you have a legal duty. You seen it, you report it.
Yep.
You suspect it, you report it.
But you have to look for it
But
in
you
order
have to
to
look.
see it.
You have to
So
know what
how
you're
would
looking
you,
for.
Yeah.
what you're looking for.
Exactly.
And to me, that's where I have the problem.
Yeah.
If I'm already looking for signs and symptoms, it's too late for that child.
Exactly.
I want that approach. So where I think in England to make a difference, if we're talking about, so it's a global issue, like I
Yeah.
said, 230 million. In the last 8 years, it shot up to 30 million. So the data is going up. Is it because we're asking more? Is it because there's more research into it? Definitely, 100%, there's more than 230 million girls.
For sure.
I went back home in 2023 at home, where I come from. And I remember just having a chat. I didn't do any research. Having chat with the people that I came across with. It's something they still practice, but it's not collected data. Yeah, they will still practice and do cutting their daughters. But it's like traditional. It's our religion. It's our requirement. And you have to, again, and then you have two group of people. You have people that have been educated about it.
Yeah.
They were not going to do to their daughters. And you have the group of who didn't have the opportunity to do the awareness, who will think, of course it's good for women. It's about controlling.
Yeah.
It's traditional. It's religion. Whatever you call it. The girls will be wide if you don't do that cutting.
Yeah.
They won't be clean.
There's that
It's not safe. Misconception.
That it's better for the husband.
It's better for the
reduces-
woman.
It
It's
prevents
It's not better
promiscuity.
for anyone.
It's not better for anyone.
The
For
list goes
her,
on.
for him, it's painful.
Of course,
infection.
I've got young people who will be getting married and come to me the first wedding night. A lot of people who practice this, women are not sexually active before marriage. And to be honest with you, they'll come to the clinic and they were like, it's not right. We can't have intimacy. And the man will be sitting there actually crying. So it's about education and the mindset. So to me, I think the way we can change, don't criminalize people before you even educate them. How can you criminalize someone? Majority of data that are collected in the NHS England today from maternity settings, because we're asking these questions. If you go to the A&E today, they're not going to ask you about FGM.
No.
Why is that? If you go children demand, they're not going to ask you that question. Why not? Yeah. So I'm going to go back to that mother. I told you, so I came to this country, new to this country. I've got daughters. Maybe I didn't cut my daughters. Maybe I cut my daughters. But I still got that belief. No one educated me about the UK law. This is my belief. This is my education. I think it's better for my daughters. They will be clean. They won't be sexually active. Controlling the girls.
It's your culture.
So if I don't change that woman that opportunity, 2 years time, 3 years, she goes back holiday home, summer holidays. What does she do? She cuts her daughters.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, this child didn't born in England. So she will cut her daughter, maybe. And then she comes, so I will find out some down the line, she cut her daughter. I done this before I even came to England. That's historical case, yeah? At that point, we have no evidence this was done a year ago or before she came to England. So that's where we need to change how we actually support communities.
Yeah.
And then has to be something that transparent. So we're teaching children at school.
Yes.
about, for example, the pants, how to protect yourself regardless their race, their color.
Yeah.
And then FGM will come into. So if I was 8 years old, majority of girls who gets cut when they're age, those women are 8, 9, I'll go back on holiday. Oh, my teacher told me no one should touch your genitalia. Then she comes back to that school, say, oh, well, I had this done to me. That child will be empowered.
Yes.
Any child who's 8 years old in England today, you know how powerful they are.
Oh God, yes.
They'll tell you everything.
They'll go on TikTok and
Also,
say
I think
anything.
if you tell
they
them
know they're right.
the signs as well, because
Exactly.
even teenagers, we've seen a lot of 17, even 18, 19-year-olds, they are tricked. Often it's like, oh, we're gonna see go back home, see your granny dying, you need to say goodbye to them, whatever. And then they go back home, and these are educated children, right? Because they don't know the signs to look for. Actually, I always say when we have, young people coming to our hubs, have you been on holidays regularly? Not really. This is the first time someone's taken out a passport on your name. Have you actually openly asked the question, Mom, am I actually at risk of child marriage? Am I at risk of forced marriage? Am I at risk of FGM? Do you think there is any possibility at all that these could happen to me? Because sometimes even when the parents don't want to do it, we've seen a lot of people where they're extended family members.
They pressure them.
Yeah.
Did it, and then there comes back the parents as criminals,
Yeah.
but they actually did not want it. They were kicking and screaming outside
Exactly.
the building,
Yeah.
So I think it's important to have these conversations, and if there's anything suspicious or they're not 100% sure, then maybe you're not going on that holiday. You can actually, even yourself, you don't need an external party, you can file for a protection order.
Oh, wow.
And most people in this country, most young people or grown adults, don't know that there are protection orders. You can get your own passport cancelled. If need be, you can get a court mandate to protect yourself. And or a third party can also do this. It doesn't have to be you, but you could also do it. It's better to do it before you leave the country. But I mean, if you have left, if there's anyone watching and, they're stuck and they are either at risk or already happened, I think it's important to file another order, get support from FCDO, because FCDO is there to support the citizens and residents.
Okay.
It's not just the citizens. If you're a UK resident, that's another information people don't know. They think, oh, but I'm not a British citizen yet, so maybe the support is not available for me. No, you're a British resident. That's okay for you to also receive the support. So there's a lot of support lines available, but I would say to be very, very alert
Yes.
about your own safeguarding. Do you have these, holiday patterns? Not really, as a kid, I didn't go on holidays. So actually, I do think I would find it odd.
Yeah,
if
someone's
my
like,
family told me-
off we go. I'll be like, we
Yeah, we're
never
going
go
again.
anywhere. We always stay home.
Yeah, I would be like,
Literally.
what?
we never go anywhere.
We've
Why are
never
we
done
going
that.
somewhere now? Like, what have I done? Literally. No.
And I think it's a fair question to ask,
Yeah.
to your parents. Do you think everything is going to be safe and all right? And if you think, even if they may be lying to you and be like, yeah, don't worry, we don't do that stuff. I think you just really, get in there and
Press into it.
Press into it.
Yeah.
Find, whether you actually feel confident.
Yeah.
Or even speak to your cousins if you have cousins, because we have some young people who've actually done this. Their parents were like, yeah, no, we don't do that stuff, because they actually didn't suspect either. And then they messaged their cousins. They were like, yeah, I don't think you should come here because it happened to us. They did cut us. And, they could do that to you. What's to say we can actually protect you?
Yeah.
I couldn't protect myself. My mom couldn't. So it actually helps to ask these questions. And it's permanent. There's no reversing.
There's no
FGM.
reversal. There's nothing.
We have
It's-
surgeries,
but
not in the UK.
no, I've
But the surgery is not a reversal.
No.
So there's a surgery called reconstructive surgery.
yeah.
Reconstructive vulvar surgery, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Huda can tell more about what they do in the surgery.
Yeah.
So women who had undergone FGM, so different types. You got type 1, type, different
Yeah, there's
types.
4 types,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly, 4 types. And there's in Europe, 24 countries in Europe offer this. So if you are living, for example, in Germany,
Yeah, I've
your
done
insurance
that.
will be able to cover that.
Yeah.
So you have a full cover, have the full reconstruction of the vulva. One of them is a guy called Dr. O'Day. And he's amazing. He does a full reconstruction of the vulva. So a woman had undergone FGM,
They call him
and they
Mr.
had
Vagina.
the labia
The
minora.
vagina.
So if women who had an FGM, for example, they remove the labia minora, labia majora, he will actually reconstruct that.
Okay.
And majority of women who had undergone FGM, 98% of women had still the clitoris intact.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do, the surgery, they will actually sort of reform that.
Okay.
Make sure that, they have a surgical full vulva, so women will have full feel of her genitalia again.
That was literally
Amazing.
going to be my question.
Exactly.
Do they have the sensitivity that
They
gives
have full
to the
100%.
nerves?
That's what he said.
Amazing.
That's
100%. A lot of women who had undergone FGM as well, now what we understand, they also have ongoing hyperstimulated nerve damage. That kind of women, if they live in England, they don't have no support when it comes to reconstruction, because there's no service for them.
Yeah.
This is not offered under
It's not offered under the NHS
or privately.
Frustrating.
It's so
But
frustrating.
if you want to be cut, if you want legal
yeah.
FGM, you can go
You
and
mean
get
vaginal anesthesia?
labiaplasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Which
makes
is
sense.
called Barbie designer vagina. There's many underground names for it. We have Equality Act 2010.
Yeah.
So that law suggests that we all deserve equal treatment in all settings of life, including in healthcare. In the national healthcare system, we all pay taxes into to keep it alive. But for FGM survivors, you cannot get this reconstructive surgery, even if you have tearing up, active, shooting, nerve damage, like Huda said. And we've met many of these women who actually desperately need the surgery. And again, to say not all survivors need it, because there's so many types of FGM, but a lot of survivors need this. But when you go to A&E, they can't help you. But imagine if you had a car crash, you lost half of your face. This is not a typical surgery that they perform every day.
No.
But NHS would find a way to reconstruct your face for free, right? We've seen many odd cases where even patients have been sent to, America or Switzerland to have a very odd type of surgery that wasn't often available. But when it comes to our genitalia, I wonder why that support is not available.
Not that.
And also women who, we need a holistic care. So before they even go to surgery, so this, for example, in Europe, those clinics are offering, they look at the woman as a whole. So you have counselling, psychosexual counselling, and then trauma-informed, and then the surgery. So there's a lovely woman, Dr. Jasmine Abdulkader. She has a clinic in Switzerland over 10 years, 11 years, might be 12 years now, isn't it? Very long time. And she does really amazing surgery, very simple. She'll do is a holistic care. So she'll look at the woman holistically,
She should,
mentally. So she'll do the counseling, they do psychosexual training, and then over the surgery. Because when you empower a woman again about her body, what is actually there for her, she goes, some woman will say, okay, I don't need the surgery. I feel happy now. I feel whole. Someone will say, no, I'll go for the surgery. And she will do simple surgery for them. Really simple, where she gets the clitoris. Remember, they cut the tip. She'll expose the clitoris. Woman will have feelings and sensations. So she doesn't go that extreme where she has to reconstruct the whole thing. But woman will feel whole and complete. So we can have so many techniques that would be available for women. But at the end of the day, it comes to, lobbying. It has to be evidence-based. There's a project now, I'm also part of it. It's called ACER project. What we're doing, a group of midwives, specialist midwives, doctors, experts, academia came together to collecting the evidence, and hopefully, if they have some sort of money, then they will do random controls women, and then see how that goes. To me, I think that's okay to have an evidence base, but something that in Europe, 24 countries are already doing it. It's a bit too late.
I feel the same way.
Why?
If they've done it,
let's do
lift
it
and shift and
best
and do it.
practice from those
And
countries.
and I know a lot of young women now.
Yeah.
A lot of young women who are younger girls in their 20s, in their 30s. This has happened to them without their choice. And they go to Germany and they will save money to have the surgery done. And sadly, they will come back to England. We have to pick up aftercare. They don't get access to aftercare.
No.
Sometimes they have to travel back and forth. Sometimes they stuck.
Yeah.
If you phone calls from the doctor who done the surgery, after that she figures herself out how to survive with this new vulva she has, with the new beginning of her
Also,
life.
it's 15,
what is normal?
20,000
It's
pounds.
25,000.
No one has that kind of
no one
money.
has that
So
kind
it
of
depends
money.
actually on the cutting you had. So if you were type 3, they remove the whole labia minora, labia majora.
It's
the
a longer
is more.
surgery.
So young woman who has got type 2, maybe, they will go 11 to 12,000 pounds to start with.
Wow.
Well, I
That's
don't
not
know.
including going back and forward.
I don't know
with the
any
surgery.
survivor who has that much money.
So women who
flights,
actually I get phone
accommodation,
calls, women actually, because they want to fail, they're so desperate that they have to travel to Germany. It's not far. They'll go to France. they'll go to Switzerland. It's sad.
Yeah,
it's really sad that they have to go. They're taxpayers. They live in England. Their health inequality.
They deserve
to have it.
have that surgery.
Yeah.
They
But
deserve
then
to have
again,
that.
black women die 5 times more in childbirth.
Yeah.
In childbirth.
They are
4 or 5
taxpayers.
times
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Yeah.
Is it because we know? I mean, I am a midwife. We triage. Everyone comes. Everyone, the way we understand pregnancy is different. Every culture is different.
And pain
Every
as
woman,
well.
pain,
Pain
is
tolerance
different.
as
How
well.
you
Exactly.
Oh my God, the pain of minoritized women is not believed
No.
at all.
It's not.
At all.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the questions that they ask you, but do you think it's in your head? You know, even like we've had a lot of FGM survivors who went to psychotherapy sessions and they had to break it to their therapist what FGM meant. And they were like, here's a tissue for you. Okay, you keep crying. I'm going to leave because I don't think you're going to be able to help me. And that's a very bad position to be in. Or they will go to like GP, even smear test. A lot of the survivors, especially type 3 survivors, really struggle with smear tests.
They wouldn't be able to do smear tests if they got type 3 because it's a
Well, even if they're
tiny
yeah,
hole.
Yeah.
My ideal
Exactly.
clinic will be for women to have FGM clinician like myself, and where you can have your counselling at the same time.
Yeah.
You can have psychosexual, paid by the NHS.
residential.
You can have
You know,
residential.
someone
Yes.
is there
You can
for
have your
everyone.
smear
Exactly.
test done, smear test at the same place, and also to have the holistic care aftercare.
It's important.
At the moment,
Yes.
one of the referral I make is the project called Dahlia Project, who are a charity organization. They will see those women 6 times,
Okay, good.
yeah, for free. And sometimes women want someone look like them, someone understands them.
Exactly.
And I remember one of the survivors telling me she went to counseling, and this woman was telling, "How do you be? What's that mean? How do you be?" So even her perception of FGM survivors
It's not
are
even
different. FGM survivor will tell you they'll go to the GP with a sort of maybe recurrent UTIs or whatever, and they, you had FGM, maybe that's why. And conversation stops that. The moment she says, "I've been cut," then you put them in a box, which is not, again, it's not acceptable. So really, when we come to our clinic, sometimes it makes me so like, is this really happening in to women? Whereby, women will come with ongoing complications as a result of the cutting. And the question will be, you had FGM, are you getting married? Are you about to get married? Oh, okay. When you're married, then you can, because they remember it stands for virginity and stuff like that.
Wow.
Probably some training that they had. It's like, listen
if
to
they
the
had
woman.
training.
If they had a training.
If they had training.
So,
But
If
also,
they had
if
training.
you go to some of these trainings, I would highly suggest if anybody's booking a training, they have to book it by a survivor-led, healthcare professional-led
who
organization.
actually
Who
sees
actually
Yeah.
understands, because some of these trainings I've been, I had to file a safeguarding concern because, it's like the harmful practices, and then it's quite dehumanizing, quite traumatizing, like what am I listening to? I'm actually not learning anything.
FGM survivors, they don't want any empathy or sympathy from us. They just want us to actually give them to help.
Yeah.
Listen, help.
Listen, help, and
Literally.
without being judgmental.
Exactly.
And we had a
Yeah.
landmark case back in September, I think, where an Iraqi father have arranged her child to be trafficked, not, sent back home. I want to use that word, trafficked to Iraq to be cut and forced into child marriage. And because of the conspiracy, it didn't yet happen. Child was able to, be rescued safely. But because of the planning, he still went to prison.
Good.
It's good, and we were so happy this was the first time a man went to prison.
Yes.
This is a male-driven crime.
Exactly.
But, even to plan this is a crime. So I would caution anyone, if they hear about someone planning for someone to be harmed, run to the police, run to the, FCU
Young
Home
people
Office.
especially.
Yeah.
Young people especially. I think these, support lines go a long way. And I would say self-advocacy.
It's important.
Make sure that you learn your rights. You go to a charity, seek for extra support, because you can't just expect to go to the police and leave it there.
Yeah.
We have to get as much support as possible. And self-advocacy in a hospital setting, in a police setting, anywhere. I think even in school, it's so important that we actually learn our rights.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies. I love the fact that you both have, everything that you've said has been so informative. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I love the fact that you've both have expressed the fact that it needs to be a whole system approach. It can't just be, one thing. And I like the fact that you've both alluded to the fact that more awareness needs to happen. And I think that is the pivotal step, because I think once we understand more about it, more can be done. Now, just to turn the trajectory of our conversation just a little bit, because I just want to know more about you both. I just wanted to ask, what led to both of you being advocates for FGM?
Yeah.
Was there like a particular thing that happened in your career pathways, personally, or anything?
Like I know you both
that?
are quite strong about women's rights. So.
I think every woman and girl in my family, same with, Huda, I would say, is born an activist because, because of the nature of the systemic negligence that we grow up in, you have to self-advocate every step of the way. I grew up near Syrian border in Turkey. Huge, there's a huge negligence in that area. There's conflict going on, lack of funding, poverty. You're at the intersection of so many different issues that you actually have to be an advocate. Like, can you talk? Yeah, you have to self-advocate.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna be.
You're not gonna make it. Yeah.
You're not gonna make it. You're gonna be hungry, maybe raped, killed, or trafficked, forced to. Anything could happen. So that's how I guess became an activist.
So when I came, I remember being a nurse, as a student nurse. There was a deaf woman, she was Jamaican. And every time the doctor, so she's partially deaf, but you have to take time to talk to her.
Yeah.
So every time the doctor wanted to talk to her, they used to call me. It's like we're having... So all I did was listen to her, take my time.
Maybe she thought that you were going to do something,
magic.
Yeah.
Clearly,
magic,
because you were black.
Well, and we speak English,
Yeah.
Me, I'm trilingual, so I speak English, Somali, and Arabic. So I become advocate for non-speaking English in my career through and then I realized when I became a midwife, it was more needed. So that's how I became who I am today, purely by accident, by working with the community, by being the advocate. Until today, my colleagues, they know, they can call me at any point, Huda, please, can you translate for us? We can't get the big word that we use, or this time of the hour, they can't get and I'm happy to do that. So because of that, because of my culture, because of I love supporting women. I get phone calls every day. I get a call today from a 24-year-old woman, new to the country, no English, FGM survivor, went to the GP, didn't understand her needs. And I said, come to our gynae clinic. We'll sort you out. Yeah? So for that, how do you stop?
Okay.
If it comes to you.
Yeah.
And you just have to be that, just be that caring. Just listen. And then you will make the difference.
Yeah.
Until today, the word activist, I think, is so underestimated because we're on call 24 hours. Whoever called, my phone never stops.
I can imagine.
Whether it's a triaging back in Somalia.
Something.
Someone will call me, my cousin is pregnant in Somalia. Do you know anyone she can go to? Or what shall we do? She's 9 months, baby's not coming. What do we do? So my phone doesn't stop. And I'm so glad I have that opportunity, if it's one voice, to be empower women and make a difference for them. This is who I am, and we have got a lot to do.
Yeah,
but always, as an NHS worker or working with people who lives in this country, has a right to be safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Women, it's not acceptable. Black and ethnic minority women are dying because of their why.
Exactly.
I don't want to use the race. Why are these people dying?
No, but it's a question.
That's the question, isn't it?
It's a valid question.
Yeah,
It's
it
a valid
definitely
question.
has that. I think that is a major factor for
Why
sure.
are we-
I think
why are we
as well,
dying?
It's a lack of understanding of our different cultures, and not just black, white. Of for example, you said you're Turkish, so even just outside of British, there's a lack of understanding. Even in London is probably one of the most diverse cities in the world, but yet there's a lack of understanding of the different demographics that reside within London. So I think having that knowledge, as you said, teaching, knowledge, awareness, all of these can help, but it's where to start from.
Where to start, exactly. And I think to shows like this, there's always that.
Yeah,
the more we talk about it,
Yes.
Exactly.
No.
the more we see,
Exactly.
resilient like Sema, coming from a really, she could
Exactly.
have turned her around and said, look, I'm safe and happy. I don't have to
Literally.
do anything.
No.
But now she's choose to travel miles
Yep.
on her own. You don't get Yeah,
But you
we will
continue
go
to
anywhere
fight.
it takes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
companies sponsor me. I have to fly around the world to tell people.
But yeah, no, but that's good. Again,
Yeah.
I think it's with any health intervention, it's that awareness.
Awareness is first.
Awareness. If people do not understand it, how can they be a change maker? How can they invoke these different policies or initiatives or interventions? They can't do it without that information.
In my career, when I came to, for example, we're talking about FGM today, I thought it honestly happens to Africans, Sub-Saharan, specifically East African.
I thought East African.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's and that's so wrong. And now I know it's not. In my
Asia,
clinic, I've seen
everywhere.
all different
White,
kind of
black.
women.
Yep.
Black, you know,
Asian,
Turkish community,
anybody.
Iraqi Kurdish, you know, Iranian who battle with it. It's just never ending.
No, exactly.
Malaysian,
Yep.
Asian. I've seen them all.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really end in a specific race.
No,
it's
exactly.
a global.
Exactly.
And now when I want FGM to be looked at, it has to be looked at as a global issue. Sema, if you and I now go to the GP today, I will be more, maybe look like someone who maybe undergone FGM.
Yeah.
Or I look like that kind of woman, right?
Unfortunately, there's so many
and that's a fact.
stereotypes in
Stereotypes.
Yes.
in primary care. So I'm a public health professional,
Yeah.
and when I was doing my master's in public health, one of the things that we learned was that there are these stereotypes that exist. So, for example, if let's say a South Asian lady was to go into the GP and just say she has any kind of health condition, she probably hasn't even said her health condition yet, they will automatically say, "Oh, it's diabetes."
It's
Likewise,
bias.
Yep.
Yep, there's a
Likewise, if
bias.
an African, if an African male or female was to go in, they probably haven't even said their symptoms or anything like that. High blood pressure. So unfortunately,
Stereotypes.
Stereotypes. When we talk of that systemic racism, it is in our healthcare, unfortunately.
We can't sugarcoat it.
Yeah,
No, we
it's
can't.
there.
We can't.
You
We
know?
have to bring it to the forefront
Yeah, we
and
have
just
to.
and own it and
data
therefore work
speaks
with
itself.
it.
Exactly.
You have to actually tell them off when they do this.
Yes.
Because,
Yeah.
when I had a very strange occasion at my GP when I had consistent, low vitamin D, a protein getting out through my, the urine. And, I was actually diagnosed back in my country with an autoimmune disorder. So I'm perfectly capable of explaining myself. I speak good English, and I was just like, oh my God, if I wasn't able to speak English, then what would happen? And I keep telling this GP, I actually do have an autoimmune disorder. This is it. You just need to run the diagnoses and just because I don't have a letter for you. You didn't accept my overseas diagnoses either. And he was just like, do you know what? I think you have low vitamin D, obviously because you're from a Muslim country and you're wearing covered clothes. I was just like, I'm literally in Lululemon. Where is it? Like half of my body is out.
I've got cropped up on. What are you talking about?
What? But also, that's not true. If there is sun, we're catching it, right?
Actually.
Anyway, so he was just, I was just like, and that's such a stupid thing to
Stupid
say.
to say.
Yeah. And I had to
we
have
all
a
need to
fight.
take vitamin D.
Yeah, I actually had to have a fight with this GP to send me to rheumatology. And then when I was, referred to a specialist, they were like, oh, wow, your blood tests are messed up. Yes, you do have something. Yeah. But it took me like a good, I think, 12 months to back and forth with this person.
12 months.
And then I actually requested my notes. I was like, can you, freedom of information, can you actually upload everything on my app? There's an app that you can download.
Yeah.
And when I downloaded all the, observations, this person wrote, I think she's hypochondriac or something. And then I Google what that means. And I'm just like, I'm not hypochondriac.
Wow.
It's damaging.
Yeah.
It's damaging to every ethnic minority in this UK because I think it's not necessarily like that when you go abroad. You actually do get the quality of care, but unfortunately, the systems out there require money.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
A lot of people actually do travel now to get their healthcare elsewhere.
realised, they do
They
travel.
lost trust. So I think to us, we're going to keep talking.
Just keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking.
Keep
That
raising
making noise.
awareness.
Yeah, that's
keep,
it.
honestly.
Oh, thank you, ladies, so
Thank you so
much. For sure. But before you ladies go, there's a question that we love to ask all our guests and our professionals, which both of you are. What would you classify as good health?
For you individually, what's your definition of good health?
So just listen and you have a good health. But to me, as in my role, I think good for FGM survivors will be a holistic care. When a woman comes in a clinic, she can get her semi-attached, she get her counseling, psychosexual, in sort of that nice support frame that she already seen.
Safe place.
Safe place for
Yes,
her.
exactly.
That's for me a good also practice for FGM survivors. They can have the reconstructions, they can have whatever they want. That's a good care.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Huda.
Thank you.
Sema?
Well, everything Huda said. And good health is free. Good health is also accessible. That when you're not in a position to get yourself to that point of care, it should come to you. And good health is, I would say, inclusive. So whoever you are, there shouldn't be a judgment made about you, about that person. We shouldn't have these judgments in the first place anyway. Good health is believing in people and their experiences. If someone says, listen, I feel like this, it takes a huge amount of effort to actually go to a hospital, to seek help. It's you have to take day off as part of from your work.
Yep.
You have to get yourself there, wait in the line, and in my experience, it's 10:30 appointment is never 10:30.
No.
And these people have no accountability
Literally.
because everything is so oversubscribed.
Yeah.
And I would say good health is also not oversubscribed. You should not actually have to worry about subscription, or we should have enough hospitals and healthcare professionals for everyone everywhere.
No, love that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
so
Thank
much.
you both.
It's been a pleasure having you both.
Like a part two.
Yeah, hopefully there will be a part 2. So thank you.
Thank you
Sema.
so
Thank
much.
You, Huda.
Yes.
And where can we find you if we're looking for you or we want more information on FGM?
Yeah, so we are the Vavengers.
Yes.
It stands for Vulva Avengers or Vagina Avengers.
Yep.
Great name. So if you Google the Vavengers, it will come up. Huda Mohamed MBE.
Yeah, you can
MBE.
find me on social media.
There's only one of her.
Literally only one.
There's only one of me.
Literally.
Yes.
We'll put all your socials on our
Yeah.
description bar so everyone can find it, and please follow
You
them.
can just put the tags.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Thank you guys so much.
So
Thank
much,
you.
ladies.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.